Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Tomorrow Never Knows, a Beatles podcast. And what a big day today is, Jeffrey.
Huge, Duke. Massive day. The release of a Beatles song is always big, and today was the final ever Beatles song, apparently, unless they can dig something up from George's closet, which I reckon is probably full of tapes.
Well, Paul has started saying, first he said this is the last Beatles song, and I've just noticed lately he's been saying this is the last Beatles song, I think.
Right.
So...
Yeah, well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Anyway, before we get into it, and there's a lot to get into because we're going to get into, go deep into this song. Then we're going to talk about
the McCartney gig.
The release of the Red and Blue albums, the McCartney gig, and some controversy regarding Dhani Harrison. I prefer Danny. Well, it's easier to say. Some controversy on why he doesn't like and why he's against this release.
Right.
All right. So, but let's start off with what Paul said this morning, eh?
Yeah, this was on Sirius XM, which is the biggest internet radio station on the planet, and he introduced the song. So let's hear it, what he had to say.
Hello there, Paul McCartney here, and I'd like to play you something a little bit magical, a little bit special. It's a new Beatles single, written by John Lennon, played by John, Paul, George, and Ringo. It's a new single, and it's called Now and Then. Hope you enjoy it. 1, 2. If you don't, too bad. Hello
there it is. Hey. So,
well,
if you don't, too bad. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Too bad. So, big. There's a lot to get into with this song.
It's their first release in nearly 30 years, right?
Nearly 30 years, yeah.
Since Free as a Bird and Real Love anthology.
Yes.
Which both those songs were found a bit wanting, I thought. But yeah, this song has left me confused. I don't know where I am on it. I listen to it and I love it, and I listen to it and I don't hate it, but I don't like it also, So I kind of just wobble between the two constantly. It's going to take me some real time to nail down my true feelings. But the first thing I said was they should have called it Pound and Yen because it's just like I thought was a money grab. And I don't know if it sounds like the Beatles. To me, it sounds like fragments of John with just some trickery and Beatles stuff on top of it. I know there's people that absolutely love it, and good on them. I'm not shitting on them for loving it. If they can get that out of it, that's fantastic. But I'm still up in the air. How about you?
Well, first of all, I've been trolling the internet, just looking at people's comments.
You're very good at that.
Yeah, looking at people's comments, and the general consensus is people absolutely love it. People absolutely love it. Now, there's a. What I didn't realize is there's a lot of young Beatles fans. A lot of people on the internet were saying, I was born in 2000. I was born in 2001. Yeah. This is my first new Beatles release. And some are saying, it's the best Beatles song ever. It's just, I think they're being carried away by emotion, which is great.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is, that's what the Beatles are about. That's fantastic. That's great, and I'm glad it's bringing so much joy to people. People are saying, heaps of people, old and young, are saying, I'm crying. I was listening to it, and I'm crying, and I'm crying. And I understand that because I had that kind of emotion for Free as a Bird.
Yeah, right.
I had tears in my eyes for Free as a Bird. I absolutely loved Free as a Bird. That was the first new release in my lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were
very young.
we were very young. We're second generation Beatles fans, and we were very young when they released Let It Be or whatever. We were like 5 or 3 or something like that. So we didn't know what was going on there.
Well, I actually looked at that today, right? Because I was thinking, how old was I when all the Beatles stuff came out? I was born December 1964, right? And we've got Please Please Me is in March 1963, so that's before me. It's the year you were born.
Yeah, but it's
with the
before
Beatles,
me too.
Yeah, with the Beatles is November 1963. Then you got Hard Day's Night, July 1964, the year I was born, and Beatles for Sale, December 1964. So they're very prolific early on in their careers, putting out 2 albums a year.
Putting out 2 albums a year and a couple of singles a year that weren't on the albums.
Yeah. Then you got Help and Rubber Soul, 1965, Revolver, 1966, Sgt. Pepper, 1967. I mean, we were still toddlers. Magical Mystery Tour,
that's right.
67, White Album, 68, Yellow Submarine, 69, Abbey Road, 69, Let It Be, 70. And then Red and Blue, 73 and 74, both in 73, sorry.
Anyway, back to this song.
I thought, because you brought up that really interesting point of people being, this is their first Beatles release in their lifetime.
That's right. And that's what they're really excited about. That's what they were, like everyone's super excited. Everyone just loves it. It's for me, I've said on this podcast before, I didn't like John's demo much, like the song, right?
Yeah.
I just didn't like this. It was too melancholy for me, too sort of sad. I didn't expect much, and to be truthful, I don't think I got much.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I actually expected a bit more than what we got. I did, I'm not expecting Strawberry Fields. I'm not expecting anything like that. But I thought with today's technology, we could have it a little better. Now, my critique of the song is that, look, when I heard that they'd lifted backing vocals from Eleanor Rigby, Here, There and Everywhere, and Because, I just thought fantastic, that's going to be great. That's going to be awesome. But in the final mix, I can't even hear backing vocals from Eleanor Rigby. I can hear backing vocals from the other two, but they're so low. And the strings, which sound fantastic, are really low in the mix. And what they've done is they've pushed John's voice. It's not sitting in the pocket of the song. It's sort of like overbearing the song. And I think they did that because they felt his voice was so weak in Free as a Bird and Real Love that they overcompensated.
Yeah. Yeah, I found his voice wanting in it. I thought they could have muscled it up a bit, because I was listening to what was I listening to today? I listened to Me, Mr. Mustard. His voice is unbelievable in that, and a couple of others. And I just thought they could have just brought some of that sound. Surely they have the AI now to be able to put that muscle from his young voice into the recording. Because to me, it again, like Free as a Bird. Sorry, it sounded like fragments. It sounded like two fragments of a song.
Yeah. And also there's like 2 other parts in Now and Then, that I Don't Want to Lose You part, which gives it a bit of a change, which is gone. And there's another part which is gone. So there's 4 parts in the song.
And they've been taken down off the internet. Do you know that? Because I tried to listen to today. They've been pulled off.
I'm going to get to that. So they've taken those other 2 parts off it. And then the chorus, Paul's voice in the chorus, it just sounds like a warbling old man.
Yeah. My lovely partner, who loves the song, she absolutely loves the song, said it sounded like an old man singing along in the car.
That's what it does sound like. But what surprises me is we saw him 2 weeks ago and he didn't sound like that.
Oh, we saw him 1 week ago today. We would have been heading in right now.
1 week ago today.
1 week ago today.
And he sounded great. I mean, he was a bit,
I
he
think
found
the
wanting in a
emotion,
couple of things.
Yeah, I think the emotion of it also made him sound great, and seeing him and being there in his presence. Because when I listened back to some of the recordings I did of the gig, he did sound a bit wobbly and stuff. But to me, that doesn't matter. You're going to see Paul McCartney live. I don't give a fuck what his voice sounds like, because you're standing in the presence of a demigod.
To me, his voice sounded better when he was singing something like Helter Skelter, when he was really straining his voice and singing,
that was unreal.
And rocking out and Get Back, songs like that. His voice sounded good. But then when he was singing Blackbird and that, his voice sounded weak. But I just thought, with this studio gimmickry, they could pump up Paul's voice a bit, because it's live, it's not that bad. But it sounds worse in the studio. I don't know how that happened.
Is Ringo in the chorus too?
Yeah.
Is he that real low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that freaked me out about the chorus. Like, you're expecting when a Beatles chorus comes in, you're like that, on a song like that, you're expecting these soaring harmonies. You even got that in Free as a Bird. You got that in Free as a Bird. You got these soaring harmonies, and then it was just like a bunch of old guys singing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
At a soccer game, a bunch of... So, I don't know. I just thought they could have done more. The strings are great. They should be louder. Those backing vocals should be louder. John's voice should be a little bit back in the mix, I think.
Yeah, that's what gets me about it. But can I just... one of my good mates, a big Beatles fan too, a huge Beatles fan, and he absolutely loved it, and he wrote quite an eloquent sort of opinion of it. And I'd just like to go from the other side. This is from Stevie D. He says, "How are we to feel about a new Beatles song in 2023, with only half of the Fab Four still alive and more than half a century passing since they were all last together in the same room?" Okay, which I think is a very good point, right? It brings together the fact that, it's 50 years later.
Yeah.
One that was begun by Lennon in the Dakota before his death. Okay, so the song rehearsed and reworked with George's input at Hog Hill Mill in the 90s, and ultimately finished by Paul and Ringo in 2022 with a little help from their friend Peter Jackson. So what even is a Beatles song? So it's 1979 tape recording, right, that we're listening to.
Yeah.
He said John's haunting semi-falsetto voice with just a hint of tape recorder distortion for nostalgia, check. Paul's percussion Hofner bass building momentum from the verse into the chorus, check. George's gently weeping guitar solo, echoing, vibrating, resonating around the melody, check.
Oh, well, he's wrong there, because that's not George playing the solo. That's Paul playing the solo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So okay. Paul said, which I was going to get into, I'll just mention it now.
Yeah, do it.
Paul said he wanted to play slide guitar in honour of George.
Yeah.
Even though I like it, it's not George's, it's not as good as George's slide guitar in Free as a Bird, and it doesn't have that George sound, And also McCartney said he didn't like the slide guitar in Free as a Bird. He said when he heard it, he thought, "Oh God, it's My Sweet Lord again."
They're going to get sued. Yeah. Then he goes on to say the unmistakable, understated harmony of Lennon and McCartney backed by strings arranged by Martin, check. Okay, we both have an issue with that. I know Steve likes that, but I think, they just didn't give it enough muscle in the vocals. And I'd hate to think that Paul was trying to hide his aging voice. Because as we heard in the beginning when I played that intro from Sirius XFM, he sounded old there, right?
Yeah. Well, he is old. He's 81.
Yeah, I know. So then he goes on to finish up. It might be cheap nostalgia. It might be sacrilegious to some Puritans. I think that must be us. To be reliant on AI. but it's beautiful and it's bittersweet, and we are privileged to be listening to it. So that's his take.
Well, that's a lot of people's take. And first, let me address, I don't have a problem with AI whatsoever. I don't have a problem. All they did was separate John's voice so they could work on it. That's all they did. But I would even be open to them using AI to enhance John and Paul's voice.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I'm even open to that.
I was listening to
make it better. And the other thing he said, sacrilegious. I don't think it's sacrilegious at all. Yeah, I'm glad to have it. You know, I'm glad to listen to it. It gives us something to talk about. You know what I mean? It was something I've been looking forward to this for the last week, like counting the days down to listen to it.
Yeah, we all have. But don't answer me this, and I think I know the answer already because it's probably the same answer. Does it make it into your playlist? Like your daily rotation playlist of Beatles?
No.
So
it's
a novelty, right?
Yeah, it's a novelty. It's I might listen to it again. You know, I'll listen to it again a few times, and then I probably won't ever listen to it again. Or I might listen to it. You know, I don't know. I don't know, but it's not to me. See, those three songs. Those three songs. Don't make it into the Beatles canon for me. If one of them was going to make it into the Beatles canon, it'd be Free as a Bird. Free, to me, this doesn't sound like the Beatles. It sounds like, it doesn't sound like the Beatles. It's not the Beatles. It's the four Beatles on a record, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, to me it sounds like if you've programmed ChatGPT to write a Beatles song, what it might come up with.
Yeah. And
so it's put together elements of the Beatles. I don't know. I'm still confused.
If you listen to Free as a Bird, that sounds like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Because George was alive. He could do harmony. Paul's voice was good in the 90s. They did great harmonies in that. The harmonies in Free as a Bird is what carries it for me. It sounds like the Beatles. And even that sounded like Beatles from the grave. Like, you know, that was a seance. And they brought John back from the dead.
Yeah, right.
This is a seance. Now and then is a seance that only like rattled the windows. You know what I mean?
Right,
everyone looked around, something's coming, but nothing came. There's echoes, you know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, and I don't want to, harsh out anyone's buzz. This is only our opinion, but...
Yeah, we're just fans. We're just Beatles fans, and this is just what we think of it. But, yeah, I mean, as Steve said, it will upset some Puritans. I guess that's what we are, really.
Yeah.
Is Puritans. I mean, you know,
look,
I'm not as deep into the Beatles as you are by any means, but I've been a fan all my life, and I love their music.
The first chorus is, sounds atrocious, I think, with Paul and Ringo's voice. The second chorus, they sort of lower their voices a bit, but my main critique is that Paul's really straight. You know what I mean? He's really straight, and he's going to give it that ballady Beatles sound. He could have.
Yeah, go on.
He could have easily made it "I'm the Walrusy."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Strawberry Fields-ish. You know, bring in a mellotron, turn up those strings. If you listen to right at the end, there's a little string section that's a bit sort of crazy, and that sounds like the Beatles to me. You know how it goes, ooh, 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 or whatever it does.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy to me. You know what I mean? That's the Beatles I want. Make it a bit more I'm the Walrusy, Strawberry Fields, a bit of backward guitar, a bit of backward vocals, put John's voice through a Leslie speaker, and that's the Beatles.
Yeah, the fact they made it just a John song without really any of their input other than, bits in the chorus, I think is a fail, because I would have been happy for McCartney just to have some melody, some old discarded melody, and brought it in up against John,
Yeah.
Just gone, how they've done that through many of their songs. you know, and he can write great melodies. I mean,
yeah, I know, but he just, I guess he just doesn't have the voice. Otherwise, we would have heard those soaring melodies. And George is dead, and he lent a lot to those melodies in Free as a Bird and Real Love.
So maybe they needed more AI.
Oh, I think they did.
Yeah, maybe they just needed to bring in some of their young voice and just
lift stuff from, you know, whatever songs are in that key, like they did with Because and those other songs. You know, lift more stuff, lift something from Penny Lane and or whatever.
Sun King has that very, very similar sound. That was pointed out by my partner too. She's like, why didn't they do that? But for me, it left me underwhelmed.
Look, I'm glad to have it, and I'm actually glad that it's brought a lot of joy into to people. Like, I can't tell you how many. Well, look, put it this way: it's number 1 on the iTunes chart.
Yeah, of course.
On the American iTunes chart. It's had the song itself on YouTube has had 5 million hits or 4 million hits.
Yeah, it was only 2 million when I got up this morning and listened to it.
It's only been like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's so what the fuck do we know? You know what I mean?
That's right.
We're just two grumpy old men.
Yeah, and we're two fans though. So that's all we know. This is just our two Beatles fans from day dot.
I'm bitching because I didn't get what I want.
Yeah.
You know,
we got to remember though, for people that are listening that are much younger than us, that although all those Beatles albums came out when we were really, really young, it was the backbeat of our childhood because it was on the radio every day.
Yeah.
Every Beatles song they were on TV, they were on the radio, they were in every shop you went to, you know, so they were a massive part of our lives.
Oh, look, in our teenage years,
everywhere.
From about 14 onwards, we spent hours and hours and hours in our bedrooms, friends' bedrooms, smoking pot and listening to the Beatles, listening to the White Album and listening to Revolver and Sgt. Pepper and Abbey Road. And, you know, we spent hours upon it, like a lot of our teenage years.
I know,
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. It's part of our DNA.
Yeah.
That's what growing up with it's like because they were all alive. They were all, they were still recording. So, but, to me, it's got I hate to say it, but the stink of a comeback of a great athlete. Like if, Muhammad Ali came out in his 50s and said, I want to fight again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's Ali, but Jesus, you're going to get your ass beat,
But you know what? Having said that.
Maybe I'll love it next listen. I don't know.
Having said that.
Confused.
It's, definitely the best song released this decade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Taylor Swift and whoever else is going. There's
Ed Sheeran.
No other song that's been released in the last 10 years that I like better.
No, that's true.
So we just hold the Beatles to a very high standard, which you should. Everyone should because
they set that standard.
They set that standard. Exactly right.
Mm.
They set that standard.
Look, I'll probably love it next listen. I'll probably love it, and then we'll have to come back and do another potty.
Yeah, well, look, there's a lot of young people. That's what surprised me. A lot of young people just and online doing stuff online, bawling their eyes out. Like, oh, I can't believe blah 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 blah. And when we went to see McCartney, there was young people. There was young people dressed, people in their teens dressed in their Sgt. Pepper gear.
Yeah, everywhere.
Sitting behind us, And so there's a lot of young people that are into it. I was listening to an interview with Mark Lewison, who wrote that book.
Yeah.
And he was doing something somewhere, and this girl came up to him and asked him to sign the book. And he went to sign, and he said, "How old are you?" And she said, "I'm 18." And he said, I guess your parents got you into it. And she said, "No, Get Back."
Oh,
so she got it. She's into it from the Get Back documentary.
Well,
so there's new fans coming all the time.
Yeah. That's how my partner got into it. She was younger than me, and I think they'd they'd broken up by the time she became a fan, but they had a Beatles day on the radio. Remember how they used to do that on 2SEM? They had a
were
Beatles
broken
weekend.
up by the time we became fans too.
But by the time they had the whole... Remember 2SM used to have Beatles weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was listening to that, and that was it. Gone.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess that's how it happens, yeah. I mean, they're the Beatles too. That happens because they're fucking magicians.
Look, someone said to me, it sounds like Julian Lennon.
Oh,
it sounds like something that Julian Lennon would come out with. And if Julian Lennon did come out with it, no one would give a shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, but look, there's a lot of people that love it, and more power to you. And I know you love it, Steve-O, and keep listening.
Yeah, good on him. I'm stoked everyone loves it. I'm really happy everyone loves it, because I'd hate it to be a failure. Yeah, if it was a big bomb and everyone was shitting on it. I mean, you read reviews, even reviews, Rolling Stone love it. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? You know? I love that everyone loves it. I want everyone to love it. I don't want people to say negative shit about the Beatles after we just said that negative shit. But it's not really negative. It's just because we don't love it. You know? Look, I think Free as a Bird is better. Way better. Because
hopefully they'll redo those. Hopefully they'll put that through AI and clean them up and
they should have
strengthen the vocals and stuff.
They should have. I thought they were going to do that and maybe put them on a single together or put them on the Blue album, because they put Now and Then on the Blue album, the new Blue album that's coming out. We'll talk about that anyway. I thought they should have put Free as a Bird and Real Love remixed, pumped up John's voice. It would have been great. Look, to me, the chorus in Now and Then actually sounds more like the Travelling Wilburys than Free as a Bird. Yeah. You know how people are saying Free as a Bird sounds like Travelling Wilburys? The only thing I don't like about Free as a Bird is that Ringo was trapped into playing that just, that drum beat, because they couldn't do anything with it. Yeah. But I think it's superior in every way to this. Yeah. I really do.
I'm sure they'll get the Peter Jackson treatment.
Yeah. Oh, I want this Now and Then. It's there. It's just the mix is bad. It's just, it needs a couple more things, and it needs a mix is bad. I'd love someone to, that when we went and saw McCartney, and there's that DJ that plays all those Beatles mixes, how he's remixed them. Why didn't they get him to do it? Yeah. He did really freaky shit.
Yeah, he did some good stuff.
He did some psychedelic mixes.
There was some really great stuff in that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about McCartney.
Just before that, I want to get into the cover.
What is that?
This is another thing. It's your last song, he thinks. What is that cover? To me, it looks like a cheap 80s budget label cover. It doesn't even say the Beatles on it.
No. Just says Now and Then. Could have been Huey Lewis's first single.
Exactly. It looks like something like that. Now, this is what leads me into this Dhani Harrison controversy. Yeah. Can I just get into that? Because this all ties in. Yeah. So we don't have to come back here. So on Instagram, I wrote on I think it was on John Lennon's Instagram, I wrote what I just said. It looks like a cheap 80s budget label. Yeah. And lots of people liked it. And then I saw things that Dhani Harrison likes it. And I thought, it must be just someone that's using his name or whatever. I looked, it's his official site. Yeah. So he liked me criticising and saying that it was a horrible cover and that it was cheap and that it looked 80s. And I thought, I looked on the thread and I thought, I wonder what else he's liked.
Yeah.
So I looked on the thread. There was one, someone said, George didn't want this released. You know?
Yeah.
Dhani Harrison liked it.
Right.
And another one said, the cover's cheap. I don't like the cover. Dhani Harrison liked it. It was basically everything that was negative, Dhani Harrison liked.
That's odd, isn't it?
His official Instagram liked. Now, I'm going to go into a bit of a conspiracy theory here. But it's not even a conspiracy theory. George said, and these are George's words, Paul actually said that this is what George said. In an interview when Paul was doing part of a Jeff Lynne documentary, and he was talking about working on Free as a Bird with Jeff Lynne and, all those sessions, he said, we went to do Now and Then, and George said, I don't want to do that. It's fucking rubbish. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
That's what he said. It's fucking rubbish. Then George later went on to say, I hope someone does this to my crappy demos and makes them a hit.
Wow. That's interesting, isn't it?
That's what George said. And McCartney said it himself. George said, it's fucking rubbish. I don't want to do it. Then, all of a sudden, they come up with, George didn't want to do it because the audio was so bad.
Yeah,
he liked the song, but he didn't like the audio. And then in that 12-minute clip, they play this version that's all scratchy and which I've got Now and Then on a bootleg I bought 20 years ago, and it doesn't sound that scratchy. Where did all those scratches and hums and shit come from? And the narrative's totally changed. And Olivia, his wife, said it too. But then underneath that, Dhani is going around Instagram and social media, sort of poo-pooing it, just liking all the negative comments. So I'm thinking Dhani is just being loyal to his dad.
Yeah.
They were very close. They were very close.
Yeah.
They were very close. And he's obviously had no say in this.
Well,
so he's not...
In that 12-minute video leading up to the release, the official 12-minute video of how it was composed, there's a lot of Sean Lennon voiceover, isn't there?
Yes.
There's a lot of Sean, but there's nothing from anyone else.
No Dhani.
It's just Sean and Paul from memory.
Yeah.
With a bit of Peter Jackson in there.
Yeah, so you have... I can't remember, was Olivia in it at all?
No.
So you've got Paul, who's basically speaking for everyone, but speaking for himself. You've got Ringo speaking for himself. You've got Sean speaking for John, and there's no voice for George.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting take. Look, ironically, I hope he's right. I hope they do grab his crappy demos and turn them into songs.
So do I.
Because I think they'll be great.
And I think they will. I think they will. I hope they do. But they're going to have to grab demos that John played on.
To call it Beatles.
Yeah, they're going to have to get all the, old... look, George demoed most of All Things Must Pass in the Let It Be sessions with the band. So just grab them and give them the Beatle treatment. Who cares if it's been released or not?
Yeah, that's true.
But what I found interesting was that Dhani sounds like he hasn't got much control over George's estate yet.
Well, that's his mum, though, controls it completely.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. That's right. I thought George might have left it to both of them to control.
Yeah. But how old would they be now? Because he was like, I don't know, how old was he when George died? Was he a teenager? He was a teenager, wasn't he?
Yeah. He'd be in his 30s.
Yeah. And Sean Lennon would be in his 40s.
Yeah, that's right. He'd be, So the thing is, what I find interesting about all this is that when that generation do pass and the kids have taken over, Dhani is going to be, I think he's going to have a lot of integrity in what comes in, what goes out and what doesn't go out.
Yeah, right. Okay, Sean Ono Lennon is 48.
Far out.
Yeah, that's freaky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he was a little kid. I remember him being very young.
That's all I could see him as a little kid.
Yeah. Let's see how old Dhani Harrison is. He is, of course it doesn't say, 45.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're seeing him, in my mind, they're teenagers, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So
well, they're basically on the brink of taking it over. Like, I mean, Yoko, they were saying Yoko's basically on her last legs. Been saying that for a couple of years. They're saying she's in a wheelchair and stuff. So then Sean's going to take over.
Yeah.
You know, when McCartney goes, I don't know who he's going to leave his estate to.
Well, you never hear from his kids, do you?
No. And, and Dhani will take over. And I guess Ringo's kids will take over. And then it's going to be...
Well, then it'll be interesting. That could be a fucking wild ride of what gets released and what doesn't, you know?
Yeah, it could be everything. Just
there's a market for every note ever played by a Beatle, you know?
Yeah.
So God knows. But you were telling me that Oasis album completely created by AI, just fed in some parameters, and Oasis want to release it. It's so good, right? So,
what's his name wants to release it? Liam wants to release it. I don't think Noel does.
But, you know, what's to stop that from the Beatles? People doing that with the Beatles and putting out, like you said, there'll be a new album every day.
Yeah, there'll be new album. There'll be everyone will be doing it around the world. There'll be a million albums every hour.
Fuck. A million albums every hour.
All right, you want to talk about McCartney?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was just, I was apprehensive for his voice and a few other things. A lot of the songs that I don't like, and it was 3 hours and I didn't want to be sitting there and it was outside and all that sort of stuff. But my God, from when it started, Can't Buy Me Love to when it finished, was just enthralled.
Well, even before it started, you know how they've got the bass? The bass, and you were saying it's like the cross?
Yeah, when they show his bass on the big screen and it's just rising.
Yeah, it's like a crucifix, and then I've got those angelic voices going, it's like being in a church.
It's like Christ rising.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was unreal. And look, on listening back, like I said before, on some of the recordings, his voice sounded a bit warbly and old, but when you're there, it doesn't matter. I couldn't even hear it. You know, part of my mind, you know that your mind blocks out your organs, the sound of your organs sloshing around in your body?
Does it?
Yeah, it does that. It's got a special thing that you can't hear that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, I think that kicked in with the warbling of his voice when I was there, you know. It's just like it didn't matter because you were in his presence and he was playing Beatles songs. That's the closest you're ever going to get to seeing Beatles songs by a Beatle, and it was fucking fantastic. And that last quarter of the concert was unbelievable.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Do you have the set list? There was just...
Yeah, so...
It might have been from Jet.
He opened up with Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah.
Which was great. And then he went into Junior's Farm, which I like. I love Junior's Farm.
Yeah.
Letting Go is third. She's a Woman, which was really good.
Yeah.
That was... And his voice sounded really good in She's a Woman because... that sort of raspy, growling style really suits his old voice, I think.
Yeah, that's right. He could really belt it out, couldn't he?
Yeah, then Got to Get You Into My Life, Come On to Me, Let Me Roll It, which was really good. I think that's one of his. Getting Better, which we didn't hear last time, which I love. I love Getting Better. Let 'Em In. I like that because it reminds me of my childhood. You know, that was around, big hit. My Valentine, 1985.
That's
Maybe
great.
Sorry?
1985 is a really good song.
Yeah. Maybe I'm Amazed. His voice sounded good in Maybe I'm Amazed as well.
Yeah.
I've Just Seen a Face, which isn't one of my favourite Beatles songs, but I enjoyed it.
But live by McCartney.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. In Spite of All the Danger, which I was surprised that so many people were singing along to.
Yeah.
I thought that, that's a real deep cut.
Yeah.
Love Me Do.
Anthology made it huge, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Love Me Do was unreal.
Yeah, Love Me Do was fantastic. Dance Tonight, Blackbird. That's when...
Blackbird, he did on his own, just him and an acoustic guitar, and that was fucking brave as balls.
Yeah, well, it's like he said at the beginning when we played that thing at the beginning, if you don't like it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Which is the only attitude to have, really.
Yeah.
Here Today, New. I like New. I like that song.
Yeah.
Lady Madonna, not one of my favourites, but...
No.
Fuck You, which was all right. You Never Give Me Your Money.
Okay, now this from here, You Never Give Me Your Money to the end was just fucking unbelievable.
All right.
And that's so what's that? That's track 22.
22, yeah.
Of 39.
Yeah.
So, 17 songs of just bliss.
So You Never Give Me Your Money, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Jet, which is always a highlight.
Yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, I love that song too. It's probably my favourite. Oh, that and Live and Let Die. So You Never Give Me Your Money, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Jet, For the Benefit of Mr. Kite, Something, Obladi Oblada, Band on the Run, Get Back, Let It Be, Live and Let Die, Hey Jude, I've Got a Feeling, Birthday, Sgt. Pepper Reprise, Helter Skelter, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, the end. It's just...
Yeah,
if that was a concert on its own, just from there...
Oh, yeah. It was just brilliant. I couldn't believe...
Be happy,
Yeah. Having seen that, and like I said to you and a couple of other people, we're getting to see Mozart. You know, the Beatles are going to be around forever. That's just it. They're going to be around for another... As long as there's humanity listening to music, they'll be the Beatles. So how long? 1,000, 10,000, 500 years, whatever it is. And in our time now, we don't know anyone that saw Mozart, but you can envy them. But we actually got to see him, twice.
Well, like I was saying, it's this. McCartney is the closest thing you'll get to seeing the Beatles now. It's the McCartney. What we saw, that's the 21st century version of the Beatles.
Yeah, that's right.
So you get there. He didn't play as many Beatles songs as we did in 2017. I think there were he played 6 more Beatles songs in 2017.
That's the gold standard, isn't it? He's never done that many anywhere else in the world.
I don't think he has.
Yeah.
I don't think he has.
From my understanding, that's the gold standard of Beatles songs in a McCartney concert.
And then in the last one we saw in 2017, songs he didn't do were Yesterday, We Can Work It Out, Drive My Car, A Hard Day's Night, I Saw Her Standing There, You Won't See Me, Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah.
That's 7. That's 7 songs. He didn't do. Oh, Back in the USS. Oh, did I say that? I don't know.
No, you didn't say that.
Anyway, let's talk about I Got a Feeling.
Ah, yeah. God. Talk about bringing a tear to your eye.
Yeah.
Because he came out, he did a lot of banter, which was really good. And he talked about songs, and he does that. I don't know. And he says, he's kind of got a script for what he says. But And he's talking about
a mate that went with us, Joe. It's the first time he's seen McCartney. He loved the banter.
Yeah, because it gives you insight into Beatles history.
Yeah, he loved the band. He was sitting there, just staring at the band. We've heard a lot before.
But, I mean, it's still great. And I got a feeling he said, I just wanted the opportunity to sing with my old friend again.
Yeah.
And boy, howdy. He really
when
did.
John comes out and he's just singing it, the crowd was cheering, It was, I have to say, it was sold out, completely sold out. It was, what was it, 50? 60?
No, 70-something thousand.
Really?
Yeah, because the stadium itself holds 42, but then we had the ground, complete ground was covered too. So that had
sold out for 2 nights.
Yeah.
I mean, not many people, no one of his age can do that.
No. Impossible. He's the biggest, the greatest.
It was a great
artist.
night. It was every time you go see McCartney, you're on a high when you come out, aren't you?
Yeah.
A high that lasts for a couple of days.
Yeah, it was just so fucking good. I can't believe it. I'm just hoping, listening back, his voice was a bit cracked and old, but I'm just hoping that that he keeps touring because he's still pretty fit. Like, he only took 1 sip of water in 3 hours.
Yeah, crazy.
And he's still fit, and he jumps around and
I was standing
and talks. Yeah.
And I had to sit down a couple of times within that 3 hours.
Yeah.
Live and Let Die, that was another highlight.
Oh, that was unreal. So that's between Let It Be and Hey Jude, right? So 2 ballads, and you got Live and Let Die, just a absolute slapper, as they say. But hopefully they can work some AI into his voice, into his microphone. Like I think I said this to you before, get some young Paul, the sound of young Paul, out singing along with him.
Well, you know what?
I'd love that.
So many bands these days are miming.
Yeah.
Kiss are touring around. They're miming. Yeah, Motley Crue, they're miming. Everyone's miming. Meatloaf, before he died, he was miming.
Death by mime.
Those guys are miming. Why, let Paul have some enhancement. But I think Paul is just such a purist.
Well, look, I hope he can keep going. I really hope he can just keep going and going, because he's been a vegan for like 50 years. I just think it would be a shame for him to. He just doesn't see his voice has aged, but nothing else. His face hasn't, obviously, but his spirit is still very, very much alive.
All right. Let's talk about the Red and Blue albums real quick. So with the release, with Now and Then, they released it on. Oh, we didn't talk. We've got to quickly talk about the B-side, which is a new mix of Love Me Do. So it's the original Love Me Do that Ringo played on. Did you listen to the B-side?
I don't know. Well, when I played on Spotify, Love Me Do came on straight after it. So
that's the B-side.
Okay, right.
That's the B-side.
Yeah.
And for me, it sounds clearer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds clearer. There's not really that much to talk about, I don't think. It sounds clearer. It's good to have. But so when that Now and Then was released, the formats were 12-inch red vinyl, which was gone like an hour after release. Pre-order, not even release. Pre-order, gone. 12-inch black vinyl, which I think is gone now. There was 7-inch blue marble, gone straight away. 7-inch clear and 7-inch blue, which I ordered. I got to order those. I think they might be still available from Amazon.
Right.
Amazon Australia didn't have any of this stuff, by the way.
Right.
So I had to order it from Amazon in the States. And there was a 7-inch black and a cassette that sold out. And they just released a CD single. So that's the formats that came out in. Now, as if this isn't all enough, with all this excitement going on, they've released the red albums and the blue albums.
Now, I don't know if you remember, these were our first Beatles albums.
Yes. No. My first one was Oldies but Goldies.
Oh, okay.
And then me and you had a fight. Remember? You and I had a fight about something.
A lot of them. I had a lot of
and
fights.
you grabbed. Dad had this letter opener, and you grabbed Dad's letter opener and just scratched the shit out of it and broke it.
Fuck.
But
Must
you didn't tell me.
Must have been a hell of a fight, though.
You didn't tell me, though. You didn't tell me. I must have done something to you, like ripped down one of your posters or something, and you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And I looked for it for months. I'm going, how could it just disappear? How could it just disappear? Oh, maybe even years. And it wasn't until we started hiding pornos on top of the cupboard that I discovered all these. It was broken and it was all ripped, and I was like, you prick. Anyway, so when that disappeared,
I apologise.
When that disappeared, I'm not accepting your apology.
Fair enough.
When that disappeared, that's when we got the red album. I think you bought the red one and I bought the blue one.
I bought red and you bought blue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that was that's how we got those. So what they've done is they've re-released those, but instead of being double albums now, they're triple albums.
Jesus.
They're triple albums. And they released them in coloured vinyl. So red, blue. Would have been better the opposite way, wouldn't it? Like red had blue vinyl and blue had red vinyl.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. And so they've released them that way, but they released them in a slipcase as well.
Oh, okay. Is that sold out?
Gone.
Christ, that's insane.
So the red ones, red vinyl is still available. The blue ones, blue vinyl is still available. And there's black vinyl with 3 albums. Now, let's have a little look at these, right?
So when you say gone,
Sold
what do you
out.
mean? But you said they're still available.
No, the red ones with the red vinyl and the blue ones with the blue vinyl are available, but not in the slipcase.
Oh, okay, right.
They're available separately.
Okay.
So that was a box set. I should have said box set.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let's have a look at the blue. Right? Where's my notes? All right. So on the blue, 3 albums, you get 37 songs. Okay? Out of those 37 songs, there's only 5 new mixes that were mixed this year.
Right.
The others date back to 2015. So there's only 5 new mixes. And on the bonus disc, you get Now and Then.
Yeah.
This is side A, the bonus disc. Blackbird, Dear Prudence, Glass Onion, and Within You, Without You.
Right.
And a lot of people saying, why is Within You, Without You included? You know, it's a weird inclusion.
Yeah.
I like that song. I love that song.
It.
Yeah, I love that song. But also, you've got to give George a song for songwriting credits. You know, if you're going to put extra for royalties. But then having said that, side B has got Bulldog, which is a 2023 mix, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh Darling, I Me Mine, another George song on there. And I Want You, She's So Heavy. And I'm thinking, well, that's 4 songs. Why don't you put Don't Pass Me By on there and give Ringo a credit?
Yeah, that's right.
Some songwriting royalties. So another track that was mixed in 2023, which I'm looking forward to hearing, is I'm the Walrus. That's got a new mix.
That's one of my all-time favorites. So who's doing the mix? Giles Martin?
Giles Martin, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
are they out on Spotify yet?
No. There's a countdown on Spotify, but there's only a countdown for the blue album. There's not a countdown for the red album. Now, for my money, I would go for the red album because that's got 38 songs on it.
Yeah.
38, and nearly all of them are 2023 mixes.
Right.
Now, the only ones that aren't 2023 mixes are on disc 4, side B, and I'll go through them. But okay, so side A with a new disc 3, sorry, is I Saw Her Standing There, Twist and Shout, This Boy, Roll Over Beethoven, You Can't Do That. Oh, and it's got, what's that song? Hold Me, Please. You Really Got a Hold on Me.
Oh, yeah.
B-side, If I Needed Someone.
Love that song.
Yeah, that's 2023 mix. Then you've got to Get You Into My Life, Only Sleeping, Taxman, Here, There and Everywhere, Tomorrow Never Knows. All those mixes are from the Revolver mix last year.
Right, yep.
So they're the only...
So what are you predicting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're getting 33 2023 mixes.
Right. What are you predicting is going to be different in those mixes?
Don't know. It's hard to tell with Giles Martin.
So they'll just clean them up and maybe add some strings.
No. They're just
mixes. Yeah.
The exact song basically, and just mixes like like he did with the Revolver and the Sgt. Pepper and all that sort of stuff.
But with the Revolver one, there was there were different recordings of the songs.
Yeah, but they were extras.
Yeah, right.
They were extras. This doesn't have any demos or anything like that. They're just the songs that, I did a thing on the Revolver and it was pretty good. It was really good actually, except for, a couple of little things I was nitpicking on, like She Said when he turned the cymbals down. I was really pissed off about that. And
yeah.
He turned down the cowbell in Taxman.
Yeah, you need more cowbell.
Yeah. couple of things like that. So
all right. Well, that's
all in all, look,
I feel guilty. I got to say, I feel guilty.
I feel really bad about poo-pooing it. I didn't want to poo-poo it, but it's just I think it was a missed opportunity, and I'm happy if you love it. I'm really happy for it. I wish I loved it.
Yeah, hit us up on the email if you love it. Tell us your opinions. Yeah,
look, this is going on YouTube as well, so put all your comments. We want to know what everyone thinks. Are we just grumpy old men?
Well, I can answer that right now.
Well, we are with everything else, aren't we?
Yeah, it's just not that. It's just the expectation. We're talking the Beatles here. We're talking the pinnacle of fucking music in, probably in history. And so when that happens, I don't want something. I'm going to say cheap sellout, but that's not what I mean. But that's the closest I can come to in describing the difference between their peak and this song.
You know what would have been really cool? If they released Love Me Do as the A-side and they put that on the B-side and didn't tell anyone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Then everyone would have gone fucking... Then I would have gone ballistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You should work for Apple, mate. You should work for Apple.
Yeah, but they, of course, it's a business as well, and
that's a massive business.
Yeah, and they've got to make money. Anyway, the film clip comes out tomorrow, I think.
Okay, good. Well, that's another thing about the McCartney gig I wanted to talk about was the visuals he had behind him were just fucking outstanding.
Yeah. Fantastic.
They were so trippy. Helter Skelter was just weird. And then Sgt. Pepper, and they had the characters coming off the album cover.
Yeah.
And then he had the Guitar Hero rock band Beatles behind him and stuff. It was just fucking
outtakes
phenomenal.
From Get Back.
Yeah, and then I Got a Feeling and John singing, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our thoughts and feelings.
Look, enjoy it.
Don't hate us.
Like I said, this is still better than anyone else has released in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But is it Beatles worthy?
Yeah, is it worthy of the canon?
I'm just going to have to say no, it's not. I love Free as a Bird. Is that Beatles worthy? It's close, but it's not there,
Well, that when they did the release, was it? I can't remember, but it was Yellow Submarine and John was singing In My Town.
Yeah. That's on the Revolver.
On the Revolver re-release. To me, that is 10 times better.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
I don't know.
You're right. It is better. They should have worked on that.
Yeah.
Or even thrown that in here somewhere.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Just have it in the middle. And just anyway.
No one cares. That's right. In my town, no one cares. No one cares. Anyway, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. And who knows, it might grow on me, might not. I'm glad to have it. I'm getting a clear coloured vinyl version and a blue coloured vinyl version, so they got money out of me.
Yeah, right.
They got money out of me.
Yeah. Oh, well, for all of you that did like it, congratulations. I'm glad you do. And I don't hate it. I'm just going to say I don't hate it. And I like it. I'm analysing it still. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it, but it's just not Beatle-worthy, and it never was going to be Beatle-worthy. But my problem is I don't think it's even Freezer Bird-worthy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Talk soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.